This story, it doesn't start with a bang. It's more like a whisper. You might expect fiery chariots or, armies coming down from the heavens, but no. The text describes it as a terrible silence. And that's such a powerful image, isn't it? It suggests that maybe the biggest event in all of history arrived so quietly it was almost deafening. This wasn't an arrival of conquest. It was an arrival of presence. And that quietness, that silence, well, it leads us right into our first mystery, the secret of humility. Think about it. The power that holds the entire universe together, the very word that spoke creation into being, chose to come into our world not with all that glory, but in smallness. It's a paradox. So the text asks this question, and it's a question I think we all wonder about. Why? Why choose to be a child? Why all the vulnerability? Why the weakness? Why would something infinite and all-powerful choose to become, well, small and helpless? And the answer the text gives us is just beautiful. It frames this whole thing as a kind of divine strategy of love. I mean, a child doesn't frighten anyone, right? You run to a child, not away from them. So God came without any weapons, without any guards. His only weapon, if you can even call it that, was the weakness of a baby. It was this deliberate choice to defeat our own pride, not with overwhelming force, but with an overwhelming, self-emptying love. So, that leads us right into the second mystery. If the who was this humble child, then the where, well, the where is just as mind-blowing. The setting wasn't some grand palace. It was something way more raw, way more real, a manger. And wow, the contrast is just stark. I mean, our human logic, what we expect, is for power to be in golden palaces, surrounded by all the symbols of wealth and perfection. But the choice here was the complete opposite, a feeding trough for animals, a place that was humble, open, and, let's be honest, by any worldly standard, totally unworthy for a king, let alone for God. And that choice says everything. And here's the why behind it. The manger, it's a symbol for our own hearts. You know that part of us that can feel messy, unworthy, maybe even polluted by our mistakes? This choice is basically a declaration that God isn't turned off by our imperfections. In fact, that's exactly the kind of place he chooses to make his home, his throne. He's not asking for a golden palace inside of us. He's just asking for a little space. Okay, so we have a humble child born in a humble place. Now, for the third mystery, we look at who got the first invitation. And this just adds another incredible layer to the whole story. Just imagine the scene. The powerful people of the world are all asleep in their beds, totally unaware, and the call goes out. But it doesn't go to the high priests in the temple or the rulers in their fancy courts. Nope. It goes to simple, unknown shepherds out in the fields, literally the people on the very edges of society. The heavens, as the source tells us, opened up just for them. The message here couldn't be clearer. If you've ever felt alone or overlooked or like the world has just passed you by, this story is for you. This whole event is basically an announcement of your incredible value. It's not about celebrating the greatness of kings. It's about revealing the sacred worth of every single person who feels forgotten. So all of these mysteries, the child, the manger, the shepherds, they're all pointing to one central climactic truth. This isn't just some historical event we remember with lights and presents. It's an invitation to something deeply personal, an inner celebration. And this right here, this is the heart of the whole reflection. The idea that the true event, the one that really matters for us today, isn't what happened 2,000 years ago. It's what can happen right now inside each of us. The real miracle is allowing this divine humility, this love, to be born inside your own heart. And so this reflection doesn't just leave us with a cool idea to think about. It actually offers us a way to respond. It wraps up with a very personal prayer, a way to open the door of our own inner manger. The prayer begins with this simple, direct invitation, just acknowledging that coldness we can sometimes feel inside, and asking for the warmth of that divine love to come into that space. And it goes on with this honest admission of fault, that we've been too busy, too full of other things. but the act of making room for this love, it isn't based on whether we think we're worthy. It's based on trusting in a love that's unconditional, a love that never, ever gives up on us, no matter how many times we've left it waiting outside the door. And the prayer ends with this really profound request. After thinking about all this divine humility, the final ask is to learn it, to be made small. Not in a bad way, but in a way that helps us let go of all our pride and our ego so that we can really enter into a state of love and grace. And that is a profound spiritual prayer that truly touches the heart. Amen.